Elecman, Megaman 1, Jada Toys. Okay. So, when I played Mega Man 1, it blew me away. As you know, I use the call sign ReploidBill. That is a direct throwback to Mega Man. At the time, when I was very, very young, I went by... This name was so stupid. I was a kid. That's what I'm going to tell you. I was a kid. And when I got my first email, it was on like SBC Global or some crap like that. And I used the name The BB3. That's right, I was cool like that. I was so proud of that stupid name. Like, you know how when you're young and you look back now as you're older and you realize just how stupid something was? Let me tell you, I used the call sign, The BB3. I even put it on my jean jacket when I was little. I took a permanent marker and wrote it on the back of my jean jacket and everything. I was like, I'm so cool. I'm Bill Bush the Third. What stopped me from wearing that jacket? What stopped me from wearing that jacket is I went to school one day. And somebody, because some kids are brilliant and they're very good with their insults, somebody took the BB3 and said something else to me. Something way more adult-oriented about 3 BBs. And I stopped wearing that jacket. And then I remember we lost our internet provider. Our emails were tied to the internet service that we had at the time. Like now everybody has a Gmail. It's just kind of pretty much understood that that's what you do. Or they have like a Yahoo or whatever. Well, I had, like I said, an SBC Global. Then I got a new email provider or a new internet provider. And that new internet provider was Yahoo. Was specific like Yahoo. And then we went from there, we went to AOL. Now, when we went to AOL, that was the very end of me using the BB3. Because when we left AOL, which didn't take that long, because like, it was probably like my second computer or something like that. We ended up getting off of AOL and we went to another company. I think it was probably I think it was still AOL, but there was something different about the way we had to change internet providers that I had to make a new name or whatever. And I remember my dad coming up and saying, "Hey, we got to change names again. What do you want your email? What's your name or your sign-in going to be?" And I remember at the time we were playing some Mega Man. Like, we were always playing Mega Man over at my buddy's house. And my house, for what it was worth. Because I had part 1 and 2, and then he had, like, 3 and 4. And, I remember saying, ReploidBill. And I remember my dad going, "What even is that?" And I said, Dad, Mega Man's a Reploid." And he's like, "You really want that to be your email?" And I was like, I do. Mega Man is awesome. And I don't want to just be like Mega Man Bill. I want it to be Reploid, like the concept, he's a Reploid, he's a robot. That's what I want. Because at the time, like Mega Man X had come out, and I was starting to understand the idea between Reploids, robots, Mavericks, and I was like, I want to be a Reploid. That's awesome. That's what I want. And there we go. I took that name. I started using it on AOL. Then I went from AOL into Gmail. And pretty much I have been using ReploidBill as my call sign for years after that. For absolute years after that. It's pretty much been my absolute go-to call name all the time. And every single time I think about changing it, like, I'm kind of into a lot of other things and yada yada, and then, like, I just don't. It's kind of like there's another guy that I watch on YouTube. His name is Kakarot197. He's a Gundam channel, but it just so happens that the email he made all those years ago, he was into Dragon Ball Z, and, like, he just never changed it. I get it. I just kind of run with it now. It's become part of what I do, so I've just kept the name Reploid. Now, luckily, I never stopped liking Megaman. So, like, it still very much works for me, and it's still one of my absolute biggest things. But I'm going to say, years ago, played some Megaman. You know, I started with Cutman. This guy was always the second to last. I would go after this guy right before I went to Gutsman. Why? Not because Gutsman was hard. Not because this guy was tough, so I saved him for a while. Look, right after beating Cutman, if I was smart, which I wasn't back then, I would have went after him right after Cutman. Because just throw the scissors at him, he's done. I didn't know that back then. So when I was first playing these games, his level came up, and he was the level that you had to go up, and it was really, really, really hard to go up. It was a nightmare. It was so difficult to do that. The game wasn't built in a way that worked with those kind of levels. And proof to that is that later on, they'd pretty much given up on those levels. If you play a lot of Mega Man, you'll see that Mega Man 1, they tried it with Elecman, and then they pretty much gave up on that crap real fast. The absolute 100% skyscraper do nothing but go up levels are seldom used, and if they are, they're very careful about how they use them. It's not good design. Not for Mega Man, not for back in the way that those games were done. So this guy had one of the worst levels in all of Mega Man. Later, I started to realize that I could beat Gutsman probably with only 1 or 2 mistakes. I just needed to really watch the elevators. He was intimidating, but not actually hard to beat the level. Why is all of this relevant? Because I made a discovery back then, and I still to this day kind of live by it. And a lot of my friends say the same thing too, now that they've kind of, like, they play Mega Man a lot and whatnot, and they've kind of talked about it too. I have this weird Mega Man theory. If the level is hard, the boss is a punk. You're gonna rock him. If his level is difficult, he's not. If the level is fairly easy and you get to him real easy, he ain't no joke. Be careful. Like, and it almost feels like it's true. Because I remember this level was a nightmare. Like, it was hard. Then got up to the top of the steps. I had a bunch of the weapons. I had all but Gutsman's weapons. So I was like, okay, well, one of these has to work. So far, the scissors hasn't hurt anybody, so I'll start with that. We go into his door, climb up the ladder, climb up the second ladder, go upstairs, I got the scissors. This guy immediately starts with, shoots his little things, and I throw the scissors. I hit him. Bam! Like half his life is gone. Second scissors. Bam! He's dead. And I was like, that was it? Like, that was it? Like, it kind of floored me that this guy went down like nothing. And when I was a kid, I remember really fighting with myself about this one too. Like, scissors? What? why does the scissors, like, how does that make sense? And I remember really arguing with myself about how that made sense. Then I got a little older and I started to realize that I think that what they were doing with that was, you cut the cord. Like, the subtlety of that Mega Man thing escaped me for years when I was younger. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the thought process. Is that Electric Man, how you gonna stop him? Cut the cord. No power. Throw scissors. I don't think that it actually holds up in, like, robot logic where robots have, like, a weakness. Like, if you threw this into a comic book and you had to explain that, I'm not sure how they would do it. Because, like, I just don't know how that would work. Maybe if I was writing an action manga, I would throw the scissors and he would throw the lightning and it would hit the scissors and they were metal, so it would pull all the lightning in and then it would render his power useless while I was throwing scissors. I don't know. Maybe. I guess that could work. That could be a cool action scene if you were doing like a Mega Man anime. I want a Mega Man anime. Like a modern today Mega Man anime going through all the games. Like, start at the beginning, build the robot masters, build up the world for 1 or 2 episodes, have Wily go crazy and reprogram them, attack the city, create the first wave, Wily escapes at the end, and then, you know, like the second season is Mega Man 2, and the third season is Mega Man 3. These are things I'm never going to get in my life, I don't think. But I can still hope for things. That would be really cool. Let's see him. I want to see this. I want to see this face. He's got this wild face in here. Small thing. Jada. I know you don't need my advice, Jada. I know that you're rocking it out. But you know how in the backgrounds of your toys, like for the Street Fighters, you've been using the levels? You know how that's like a thing? And I think that you're trying to create the same effect right here, but it doesn't really work for me. Listen, just you can have my idea for free. Jada, look, put a W up here in the corner, okay? Or something like that, all right? And just make these plates as if the door just closed. Just can you do that for me? Can you do that? Because I want that. It's like this part of a room that doesn't really do anything for anybody. Like, it just, come on. You're knocking it out of the park with everything else. This has been weak in the Mega Man unboxings. Okay, so once again, you gotta give it to them. Like, these are small figures with so much. Like, they pack a lot into this minor detail. That's cool. That's very much Elecman. He very much looks like... Guys, there's a lot of personality in this tiny little dude. Like, does he not kind of look like he's kind of like the cool guy? Like, maybe he was the cool robot master? Am I the only one that reads that? Like, do you get the feeling that this guy, he probably thought he was the coolest of them? And then, like, on his back, I like this effect right here. Like, these little vents and everything. And this little... So, like, I'm just imagining... And this is, of course, off the top of my head. But, like, I imagine that he would have to vent heat. Would you think that Fireman had to vent heat a lot more? Or would you think that Elecman... Even though I realize one is literally producing fire, but one is like a gas fire that produces fire and then shoots it, but is actually built for that kind of heat, where the other one, because he's electricity, he generates a lot of energy, and then that creates a lot of heat, and he has to have 2 vents on his back to, like, push the heat out, maybe? Like, because now I'm kind of thinking, like, he's running around the room and shooting lightning and everything like that, and then these vents have to, like, steam out. Because, I mean, the effect is there. If it's there, yeah. And then he's still got just like all the others, they got the little rocket feet. This guy comes with a pointer finger. so he can tell you that he was the coolest guy. Look at that. There it is. You see it. See what I'm saying? Like, the personality in this tiny little dude is amazing. And then, of course, he has... This is so dumb. I love this. He has a thumb to tell you exactly that he is, in fact, the coolest guy here. Or to be like, good job, man. Like, just, this face is amazing. But, let's see that other face, man. Yup. There it is. Look at that face. This is ridiculous. That is so wild. I have no idea what to think about that. He does come with this effect. I'm not seeing anything. I'm guessing it just goes around his hand. I'm guessing it's just this. So he can shoot lightning. I'm pretty sure it's that simple, if you want the truth of it. I don't think it's any more complicated than it just kind of wraps around his arm and he is now shooting lightning or whatever. I really think it's that simple. I thought maybe it might go the other way, but I don't think it does, because he does it. He's the only one of these Robot Masters that did not come with a stand. This effect attaches to him. And he's got a thumb to tell you great job, and he's got a finger to point and do his promos, and he's got his really, I know I'm the coolest guy in the room face, and he's got the screaming face. Look at this right here. Look at this guy pointing at himself because he's so cool. And look at this guy knowing just how smug. Like, these guys hang out. These guys party, okay? You can't tell me they don't. That's Elecman. Very simple. I love these figures so far. Like, they're very simple figures. They're not going to blow your mind. They move very well for their size. And they're pretty easy to work with. I'd say changing the hands is a little difficult because like, they are small, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. For the amount of movement that you get out of these little guys, they're really, really awesome. And so that is Elecman added to the shelf. That gives me every Mega Man figure so far, except for, you probably will not see me reviewing Bomb Mega Man, because like I don't need green Mega Man. Back to the chat.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.